Welcome back to the Dynasty Rewind, everybody. I am your host, Michael Bauer. The best in the business is back in business. A little bit of a different show tonight. Got some not so familiar faces. Why are you pointing at me, Porkman? But hopefully, if you are a constant listener of ours, you've seen these two gentlemen on here before. Before we get to them, I'd like to introduce our favorite co-host. Everybody seems to love Porkman for some reason. And celebrating his 1-year anniversary with the Dynasty Rewind, Porkman Simmons. Porkman, how you doing tonight, my man?
I'm feeling great. I'm surprised, I made it this year. I don't know, Mike, he didn't want to send me the links all the time because he really doesn't like me deep down inside. Just kidding. No, I'm happy to be here for a year. My first one was a Thanksgiving show, and just happy to be back again to give you guys some great advice.
All right. Well, start giving some great advice, and you can keep doing that. Porkman, I say that out of love. Porkman's a guy I talk to pretty much every day, I would say. So this year has been great for you, great for me, great for the show, and fantastic for our listeners. So, Porkman, thank you for just being you and everything that you do. I would like to welcome back to the show. We got Maddie Big Chest with us tonight, the master of graphics returning. So if you need anything, you need graphics, Matty. He wants money. So let's make a trade.
Yep.
Right? I mean, it's a good deal. So before we introduce our last guest, do you want to just say anything about the Lions game? Do you want anybody fired?
Matt Patricia, Dan, just everybody in general on the Lions besides the special teams coach who can be promoted to the interim head coach role. It's just a total S show. I'm not going to say the word because we're on YouTube. So,
are you not allowed to curse on YouTube? I don't know, because I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've let it fly. Oh, fuck it. So anyway, let's go to our last but not least guest. He is the host over at. There's a lot of frames. I don't know if it's Fantasy and Frames. I think it's Fourth and Frames. I don't know. You got to make the segment on there explaining frames so I know what's what. But besides the point, he is Jorge Edwards, and he's the host over there at, I think it's Fourth and Frames. They do a ton of shows, and they're all great. They do a Sunday pregame show. I watch it almost every Sunday if I'm not on it. Jorge, welcome back to the Dynasty Rewind, my friend.
How you doing, buddy? Everybody, it's great to meet you and be great to be back. Yeah, you can catch me over at fantasyandframes.com. Follow us at Fantasy and Frames. And we do have our podcast, which is called Fourth and Frames, and we have our pregame show coming up this Sunday. So, yeah, very excited and very happy to be here.
All right. Well, we are happy to have you back. And as always, thank you to our listeners. I put out a tweet yesterday. I'm always happy when everyone downloads our show. Please subscribe, rate, and review. A lot of people might say, why? What does it matter? When you subscribe, you automatically get our show. We don't have to be reminded. It's there. When you rate and review, that helps us get seen. And that helps us get seen. We might get some opportunities like some sponsorships and everything. Get a little money. We could do more things for you. So taking that time actually helps you more than it does help us. And somebody else I want to talk about that's always helping us, that's dynastyowner.com. I just want to take a minute and talk to you about our friends over at dynastyowner.com. At Dynasty Owner, they play a brand of fantasy football that is as close to real NFL football as possible. Dynasty Owner challenges you to manage your roster using real NFL salaries within a salary cap. This adds an entirely new level of strategy to your game. No new leagues are forming now, but you can still log in and get put on a wait list. Who knows? There's always the faint of heart that abandons ship, so there could be a team waiting for you to be its savior. Head on over to dynasty.com/dynastyowner.com, today, and tell them the crew at the Dynasty Rewind sent you. Tim's a great guy over there. He's been my contact guy. Fantastic people to work with. So, Matt, also, Steve is checking in. Hi, Sean. I agree with you 100%. The Lions take, Matt. Oh, he's saying hi to Sean, and he's saying that he agrees with you 100% on the Lions take. So, saying hi to the intern. And then Sean saying hi to him. Got some comment bromance going on here. Hey, let's talk some news real quick. Carolina quarterback Teddy Bridgewater is expected to play versus Minnesota. CMC is not expected to go. The NFL has moved Thursday's Pittsburgh-Baltimore game from Thursday to 1 p.m. Sunday. But since then, it has been moved to 5 p.m. on Tuesday. There's been a staff member for Baltimore that has been disciplined for recent conduct surrounding the team. Houston wide receiver Randall Cobb goes to IR with a toe injury. Philadelphia Eagles tight end Zach Ertz could come off IR to play Monday versus Seattle. Don't care. Minnesota wide receiver Adam Thielen not expected to play Sunday. He remains on the COVID list. He also leads the NFL with 11 touchdowns. Cincinnati has named quarterback Brandon Allen starting quarterback for Sunday because they didn't like our waiver show, I guess. Mike Glennon is going to start for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He will be without wide receivers DJ Chark and Chris Conley, however. Okay, so also on the Baltimore front, quarterback Lamar Jackson was one of the people that test positive for COVID. So he's going to be ruled out for Tuesday's game. Should be interesting. Not only did that game get rescheduled, but Baltimore and Dallas's game from Thursday gets moved from Thursday to Monday, 5 p.m. This is just a shit show, man, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
It's supposed to be Thursday, then Sunday. Now it's Tuesday. Then you're screwing all these other teams up. Like, get it together. Bears quarterback Nick Foles did not practice Friday with a hip issue. He's considered doubtful for Sunday. Trubisky is going to get the start. Texans and wide receiver Kenny Stills mutually agree to part ways, so Stills can play for a contender. Hopefully that means that Isaiah Coulter can get on the field. What do you guys think? Any good landing spots here? I think everyone's saying Green Bay for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need them, right?
Sure.
Do they? They have Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones.
Well, yeah. Well, when your true wide receiver 2 is your running back, I think maybe you need to upgrade that
That's the
position.
problem.
Yeah. What do you think, Maddie? Green Bay, somewhere else? Anybody off the top of your head? Yeah.
I like Green Bay.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. I mean, I don't know what does he have left in the tank, right?
I mean, what is he?
I don't
He's
know.
a field stretcher, right? He's not like some like polished route runner, somebody who's going to be going in and out of routes, cuts left and right. Like he's a field stretcher, and they can't keep relying on Devonta Adams to be that guy, plus be everything else that he is in the receiving game. I think every good offense has a field stretcher, and so if you have a good possession receiver, you have a good all-around receiver. That last field stretcher is the key to is the final piece of the puzzle. And Green Bay, they could use it because they were kind of exposed a little bit on Sunday, even though it was a high-scoring affair. When push came to shove, like Aaron Rodgers couldn't really find in those final few drives a good receiving option because they were doubling up Devonta Adams and taking away the running game. I mean, what better than a veteran wide receiver to help out with that?
Well, Jorge, I do have to disagree with you because the Eagles have John Hightower. He's a field stretcher, and their offense is not good.
Well, their offensive line isn't exactly helping them or doing them any favors.
They also, Lane Johnson announced that he's out for the rest of the season. He said his ankle folded inside itself. Did you see that, Porkman? You see that?
Yeah, I saw that. It's not good.
And
But
it looks
what should have happened anyway is they should have put old man Peters at right guard anyway, not pay him all the extra money, and put Mailata at left tackle. He was playing well there.
they're doing that this week as well. Peters is moving to right guard, and Mailata's back left tackle. I don't know who their left tackle is going to be. If it's
Mailata.
No, he's.
Are you
going
talking about right tackle?
Yeah, right tackle.
You just say you don't know who's going to be. Yeah, I don't know who's at
I
right tackle.
don't know who's going to be the right tackle. If it's Matt Pryor, I might not watch the game because the Seahawks might get like 80,000 sacks.
I got to see how what's his name, the rookie from Auburn. Can't think of his name right now.
Jeff Driscoll or Jack Driscoll.
Jeff Driscoll. He didn't play. Jack Driscoll. He didn't play terrible at right tackle when he was in there.
Line anymore. I'm going to throw up all my turkey. So Tua is questionable with a thumb injury he sustained during practice. Looks like he jammed it on someone's helmet. Austin Eckler, Chargers, he has a chance to play on Sunday versus the Bills. It's kind of interesting. Miami running back Savannah Met has been ruled out versus the Jets with a shoulder injury. They have not committed to Myles Gaskin playing, so that would leave Matt Breida, theoretically. So whoever else they have there, probably start him because they seem to hate Matt Breida. Zach Taylor is hopeful that Giovanni Bernard can play versus the Giants. I can't talk tonight for some reason. Atlanta running back Todd Gurley is out versus the Raiders. Brian Hill is the guy there, right? Not Edo Smith.
Right.
Yes, Brian Hill, sure.
Okay. Absolutely.
Denver has canceled practice after a positive COVID test today. Buffalo wide receiver John Brown is out versus the Chargers. Tennessee wide receiver Adam Humphries will not play versus the Indianapolis Colts. He's got that lingering concussion. Arizona wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald is out after being placed on the COVID list. It's been a long time since that man's missed a game. And the reason the Cowboys shut down their facility on Tuesday, Dallas strength and conditioning coach Marcus Paul passed away Tuesday after an unspecified medical emergency. So prayers up to the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff, and Week 12 buys, none. So I hate to rub it into the Cowboys. I'm not that terrible of a Eagles fan, but Jorge, I almost said Redskins, which, by the way, I did hear both Joe Buck and Troy Aikman slip.
Yeah, three apiece, I think they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? They were the Redskins for so long.
It's hard.
It takes time.
Yeah.
Unless you're Manny, in which case he just refuses to accept the fact that they're the Washington football team now.
No, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. But what do you think about that game? Fandom aside, from a fantasy standpoint, Antonio Gibson, pork man, 20 carries, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 receptions for 21 yards. I know, Matty, you're an AD fan. He looked real good, killing all my J.D. McKissick shares, which are plentiful for some reason. But he did look good. But Jorge, I want you to touch on this game a little bit first.
Sure. First of all, it is great seeing Alex Smith on the field. I know he's not exactly fantasy relevant, but given, and I'm sure we're all tired of, I hope you're not tired of hearing about this story, because it is remarkable that he went from almost losing his leg, losing his life to, now he has 2 wins on the season, in an improbable season at that. Antonio Gibson, look, what can't I say about him? He looked really good. I think all the notions that he went to a small school and didn't get a lot of reps, I think we can put that to rest now. That being said, this was against the Dallas Cowboys, who really aren't that great defensively. Let's see if they could do it against a team a la like the Pittsburgh Steelers they'll be facing relatively soon.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I mean, good luck against the Steelers again.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're right.
Matt, are you a Zeke fan by chance? Right? No, maybe.
Nope, not really. I'm more of an Antonio Gibson fan. Those 3 touchdowns he had yesterday just really proved his dynasty running back. He's a top 10 running back in dynasty asset wise for me.
But you see Zeke's stat line yesterday?
Was it like fumble every carry?
It was 10 carries for 32 yards, 1 carry for 7 yards.
How many fumbles?
I actually didn't look at fumbles.
I think he had
one for sure. Yeah.
I do recall that his best run of the day was called back by a penalty. It was a good run too. He looked like his old Zeke on that
man got paid. That's all we can say. He got paid.
Ray Garvin put out a good tweet. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, about why paying running backs is a mistake and it's such a replaceable position. And we're seeing that now. Todd Gurley got paid. He's no longer with the Rams. Zeke got paid. He hasn't looked like himself. I think it's 50% Zeke, maybe not even 50%, like 60% rest of the team, 40% Zeke. I don't know. But, man, he is just killing me in my Yahoo League. I think that's the only place I actually have him rostered. And it's like, you can't bench the guy because he's Zeke, and we know what could happen. But at the same point in time, I considered playing Kalen Balaj over him. I mean, what do we do with this guy? We're not dropping him, obviously.
No.
He's not Mike Evans, but are we just benching him and looking for better options? Like what? What's so funny about that?
Mike Evans.
Are we benching him looking for better options? I mean, like...
it's getting to the point where you have to, right? Like the report came out earlier today that Zach Martin, who I believe he came back after missing some weeks yesterday, is now declared that he's going to be out for a few more weeks now going forward. Now we're talking fantasy playoff time for those who are trying to advance in the playoffs, those who are trying to get into the playoffs that have Zeke. Like this is a very scary time if you're a Zeke manager.
Yeah.
Trade deadlines have passed for most leagues. I mean, it's getting to that point where you have to make that decision. And to be honest with you, it's not as hard as I once thought it would be to pivot from Zeke to somebody. I don't know if Kalen Balaj is the answer. But if you have Myles Gaskins on your IR spot, I would be okay. When Gaskin came back, starting him this week, I think you're playing the matchups definitely going forward.
For sure. Quick dynasty question for you guys. How we feel about trade deadlines? Yes, no, Or should it be if you're in the playoffs, trades are locked? If you're not in the playoffs, you could still make moves. I know some leagues do that. How do we feel about that? Pork.
I feel like in Dynasty, it should just go forever, in my opinion, because
Okay.
it's just going like that. Because we're playing off season anyway, so what's the point of having the deadline during the regular season if we're still going to be trading throughout the season as it is?
Okay, Maddie, what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, if someone wants to give up their firsts for like a couple of years and sell out for a championship, then that's fine with me. They're paying up to win this year, and then they're gonna just kind of be mediocre the next couple of years. So it's a win-lose situation.
Yeah, Jorge, I know you're not as invested in Dynasty as we are, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think trading during the playoffs can be something that's rather interesting. Like if you are riding your team into the fantasy championship and you're riding a hot stud, like this would be the perfect time to trade him, right? You're costing yourself a potential championship, but people could theoretically capitalize on strong playoff performances for draft picks later on. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It almost makes it too tempting to make moves during the fantasy playoffs.
Frank checking in, saying, "Hey guys, hey Frank, good to talk to you like always. Thanks for checking in. Any starts or sits or any other advice you guys need, just drop it right here in the comments. We'll get to it as soon as we can. Before we move on to the next segment, just want to ask you guys another quick question. What is the greatest sports trophy of all time? It can be real, it can be fictitious. Anybody?
What was it? The Shiva
Stanley
Trophy
Cup.
from
Maddie's saying the Stanley Cup. Jorge, you're saying the Shiva?
the Shiva Trophy from what was it? The league.
The league, yeah. Pork
Yeah, but no, I'm just joking. I think the Stanley Cup is definitely the best one.
Stanley Cup. Pork.
I think so too, because it just looks majestic. I kind of like that thing.
You can eat cereal out of it.
Don't they
Yeah,
do
you
that,
can.
right?
Literally.
You can do whatever you want with it for the night that you have it.
Yeah, I would be afraid of what some of those guys might have
It's
done.
Yeah.
a little
Or in the
risque there.
Yeah. But listen, I'm gonna just zig when you guys are zagging. I'm gonna say that the greatest sports trophy of all time is the Aggro Crag. You might remember that from Guts. Do you guys remember the
From
show?
Guts.
Yeah, Maddie,
I
you
love
might not
Guts.
remember that. You're gonna have to YouTube that one. We're a
Okay.
little older, but hey, listen, if you want to get the Crag, come here. You get your advice from here, and you could also head on over to Monkey Knife Fight. Say, hey, Rewinders, I want to tell you about a new and exciting way to play DFS. That is our friends over at Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight is sweeping the globe right now. You can place daily fantasy props on everything from football to soccer, golf, and even MMA. When you head over to monkeyknifefight.com and use the promo code REWIND, all caps, Monkey Knife Fight will match your first deposit up to $50. Who doesn't like cashing in with house money? So one more time, that's monkeyknifefight.com and use the promo code REWIND when you make your first deposit to start rolling in those prizes today. So our DFS guy, Nate, he's not here with us this week. He's out of town. So we're just not going to touch on that stuff because guess what? I don't get it in Pennsylvania, so I can't use the app. It's okay. We're just going to be back at that next week, but it doesn't matter. You like DFS, head on over to Monkey Knife Fight and get knocked up to $50. Like you know that you're putting $50 in anyway, right? Because you want to make all those daily games. You just want to go ham, which is hard as you know what. Pork, I learned that. So put in 50, you get 50 back. Yes, Sean, thank you. It was already at the bottom of the screen. So,
He's on top of things. That's cool.
Sean is
Just
on
let
top.
him work.
He's
Let
working.
Sean work. He's good.
So, Porkman, you didn't even put a greasy take on here, man.
I didn't think of one yet. That's why I'm making you think about it later. I'm going to get to it.
Okay,
Get to that later.
So let's talk some starts and sits here. We'll just get right into it then. Jorge, I know you got someone good for us. We're going to lead it off with you.
Wow, so good for you. That is a matter of perspective, but I'll tell you what, though, he's been moving up my rankings into definitely RB2, low-end RB2, definite flex range, and that's Wayne Gallman. Who would have thought that would be the New York Giants running back I'd be talking about this late into the season, back in the preseason? If we look at fantasy, if we look at attempts the past few weeks, we've gone from 10 to 12 to 14 to 18. Like his volume is considerably increasing each week. He has target volume there. His fantasy points 14, 13, 14, 18 and a half, the week 10 in half PPR scoring against this Bengals defense this week. I'm actually on board with all Giants players, whether it's Daniel Jones, Sterling Shepard, Slayton, Ingram, and of course Gallman right now.
Yeah. I like that. Hey, Steve has a question. Is Debo a realistic start this week? Yeah,
I don't know.
I'd probably wait a
50-50.
week, see how he comes off that injury. And Nick Mullins is still back there. Nick Mullins hasn't looked that great.
Yeah, I would be hard pressed to be in a position where I'd want to start Debo Samuel.
I'd look elsewhere if I could. Keelan Cole might be a good guy to start. Mike Glennis, he's been around, and both Conley and DJ Chark are out. So, out of those two, would you start Cole or start Debo?
I would do Cole.
Yeah.
I would start Cole. That sounded horrible. I would start Cole. Yeah.
You would do Cole. Yeah.
I would do Cole.
What are
Yeah.
you doing down there in DC, man?
I know.
What you got going on over there? All right, Pork, let's go to you. Who do you got for a start or sit? However you want to go.
One of my starts is actually the defensive position. I'm going with the Packers against the Bears. Obviously, Mitchell Trubisky is Mitchell Trubisky. He's not really good at all.
Yeah,
He's coming back from that shoulder injury.
I'm gonna let you finish, and I'll tell you why Mitchell Trubisky is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Wow.
Of all time, because he plays good against the Packers.
I was doing a Kanye reference from when he. Okay, just go.
Mike, you're not allowed to do Kanye references, sir.
He was a presidential candidate, so he's technically talk about him. Go ahead, Phil.
No, yeah, but Packers, he's coming back from. He has some random shoulder injury, which I don't really think he's 100%. I just think he's good enough just to play and practice. That's what makes me kind of wary about it. Jair Alexander, he came back last week, and he's a shutdown corner. So Allen Robinson is going to be shut down pretty much. So I'm not really sure how much of a rapport he has with Darnell Mooney. Anthony Miller hasn't been playing well. Offensive line is still bad, and David Montgomery is just his first week coming back from a concussion. So that offense is in total shambles right now. So I'm pretty sure we might get a defensive touchdown this week from the Packers defense, which will help you out a lot.
I'm here to agree yet disagree. When I was on the FF Face-Off yesterday, Anthony Servino pointed something out quite interesting to me. Look at David Montgomery's both career games versus Green Bay. Complete trash. On the flip side, Allen Robinson, regardless of quarterback, has always fared pretty well against Green Bay. So I think Allen Robinson is startable. Trubisky might have had a fire lit under his rear end. Who knows? Maybe he comes out and balls out. It's possible. Okay.
No, it's definitely possible. I don't see it. Jair Alexander, he was playing well last year, but when he's healthy this year, he's pretty much in my opinion, he's one of the first team all-pro cornerbacks in the league.
Don't be shaking your shiny head no at me. Frank wants to
Do
know
what I want.
start or sit all your Steelers or Ravens. So what you need to do is contact your league commissioner and see if your league will do backups. And by that, I mean, if you have a guy like Gus Edwards in your lineup and then the alternate not get played, you pin that guy like, let's say, I don't know, Tyler Irvin. You'll take his points instead. He's your backup guy. So contact your commissioner. Make sure it's obviously okay with the league, just in case that doesn't go through. But, I mean, I think you're starting pretty much everyone on the Steelers. I think this could be a Chase Claypool game. I wouldn't be remiss to fire up RG3 either. I think arm strength, he's better. Got a better arm than Lamar Jackson. Not as mobile as he used to be, but I don't know. And he also wants to know, has AB earned a starting spot yet? I don't trust Bruce Arians as far as I could throw him, but
I think he does.
I think he does too.
Yeah.
I think he takes. I think this is an AB week. He's been peppered with targets more and more each week, and Tom in crunch situations has been going to him. So,
what a weird year. So, okay, Frank is saying he's the commissioner and he doesn't do alternates. Might be something you want to look into, Frank. You know what I mean? Maddie, you got someone for us?
Yeah, it's Michael Pittman Jr. He's playing the Tennessee Titans, and I love Michael Pittman Jr.'s athleticism, and he's got some short he's got like this burst to him that it's right off the line of scrimmage, and he gets some nice separation on slants, and that's something that like only Michael Thomas can really do. So I like what Michael Pittman Jr. can do with Phillip Rivers, especially loving his 6'4" wide receivers from LA Charger times. You know, it's a good matchup for him again. He got over 100 yards against the Tennessee Titans the last time they played, and I think he had a touchdown. So I think he's going to have similar production.
Yeah, I like that call. It's a good one. Do you think he's the one in Indy now?
Yeah. He took it. He took the reins.
Hey, are you comfortable in Indianapolis starting any of those tight ends? I know, Porkman, I know you're a Trey Burton fan, but are you comfortable starting them, though?
I like Mo Alley Cox.
You like Mo Alley Cox? Porkman,
like
Trey Burton. Jack Doyle did a touchdown last week, 1 catch, 6 yards, touchdown. Jorge, what about you?
No, I'm not comfortable. But if I had to pick one, I would go Mo Alley Cox.
Yeah, we were talking about the game in the game, Jorge.
Right.
This is another time too. Don't think yourself into a box here. There might be someone better, like maybe a Ross Dwelly is out there. Logan Thomas is available in some places. Dalton Schultz, those guys like that. Obviously, this week those guys both played, but future weeks, check your waivers for them. I'm going to kind of piggyback off what Jorge said before. I'm firing up Darius Slayton against the Bengals. That secondary is so bad that John Ross tried to be a cornerback and got hurt. It's such a John Ross thing, too. Darius Slayton's looked pretty decent. I thought he got hurt in the Eagles game. I was kind of bummed there. He came back. He played decent. So fire Darius Slayton up. And that's a guy that, thanks to Garrett Price, I've been high on for some time now. So, Jorge, let's bounce it back to you.
Sure. And this is a name that you should know pretty well. I'm sure you guys have discussed, or at least discussed during the preseason. No Adam Thielen. I'm actually and let me preface this first of all. No bye weeks, right? This week. But let's just say this is maybe a DFS play, a cheap one at that. Olabisi Johnson going again for the Minnesota Vikings. According to PFF.
Jefferson, I'm not going to lie.
What's up?
I thought you were going Justin Jefferson there.
Well, he's kind of a must start anyhow at this point, right? Wouldn't we agree? But Olabisi Johnson is going to be paired off with Troy Pride Jr., the cornerback of the Carolina Panthers, who's allowing a catch percentage of 80%. I mean, what does that tell me? That tells me he lets his guys basically do whatever he wants. He's one of the lowest graded cornerbacks on Pro Football Focus. I think this is a sneaky play right here.
All right, I like it. I mean, now are you more comfortable with that in a DFS?
Yes.
Not
in the week. Yeah, not in the week, especially this week. There's nobody on bye, so of course you're starting, your studs. There's no reason to look for a true waiver replacement unless you're dealing with somebody in the Steelers or Ravens game. If you're a little bit nervous about that, or you're the Todd Gurley manager or the Thielen manager, then these fill-in options might be the case. But for the most part, we should all be pretty safe with our options on our roster.
Okay. Yeah. Maddie, let's kick it back to you. You got somebody else?
Yeah, I'm going to go to quarterback position and give you one. Derek Carr against the Atlanta Falcons. He's got a great matchup this week. He looks good this year. He's slinging the ball downfield. And who looks good is Nelson Aguilar. So that's another play for me is I just steal one. But Nelson Aguilar.
If he couldn't,
the Eagles fan and both of them are.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, didn't matter who was throwing him, Wentz, Foles. It would hit him.
Fire Doug Peterson.
Yeah, you know what? I'm starting to get on board with that, and let's let Deuce Staley be the head coach.
Oh boy.
Well, it's or just at least get a.
No, I agree.
But Maddie, sorry, cut you off.
I love Carson Wentz. But to digress and go back to the Oakland Raiders, I like Derek Carr's matchup a lot, and if you have a Oakland Raiders player like a Nelson Aguilar, who's going to be the slot receiver, who's going to get most of the receptions, or a Darren Waller, you got to be playing them this week because Atlanta's defense has been allowing like the most points per fantasy, like almost. I think they're like one of the lowest 5 in the NFL for scoring. So I like Derek Carr a lot this week.
So do I. I actually had him He's one of my guys. Look at last week, 23 of 31, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception against Kansas City. Pretty damn good. Hey, Frank's got a couple of questions in here. Rudolph, I'm assuming you mean Kyle Rudolph, not Mason. Mason Rudolph sucks. I think we could probably fire him up. I mean, I think Irv Smith is still banged up a little bit, so Rudolph's probably going to get close to 100% of the snaps, right? And he's been
I will. Let me confirm that for you real quick.
okay. And while you're doing that, Jorge, Curtis Samuel or Darius Slayton? I kind of want to say Curtis Samuel just because of the way they have been using him lately. You're running
and no Christian McCaffrey again.
And no Christian McCaffrey. Good point. I'd probably lean Curtis.
I think I'm gonna go on Slayton due to the Bengals' terrible secondary. I think he'll give you a touchdown, some good amount of yards.
Okay.
Yeah, here Irv Smith is doubtful for Sunday.
Doubtful. It's Friday night, so if he's still doubtful, he's probably out. But Jorge, what do you think about Curtis Samuel or Darius Slayton? Which one would you fire up?
I'm gonna go with Porkman. I think Darius Slayton has the good matchup here. I really think the Giants are literally going to stomp all over Cincinnati, and everyone's going to get their share of fantasy points in that matchup from the Giants.
All right, beware the narrative. Said that one before too. Pork, let's go back to you for another start or sit.
I have Mr. Laviska Shenault against
starting or sitting?
Browns. Starting
Okay.
Laviska Shenault this week. There's no Chris Conley. He's coming back from injury. Hopefully he doesn't destroy his hamstrings again. He's had that same issue from college. But now, I mean, when he's on the field, he looks pretty electric and he looks good. That was my only knock on him was injury. That's why I was so low on him. But if he stays healthy, he looks like just him and Keelan Cole. The only people was on there. Mike Glennon got to throw the ball to somebody. They can't run the ball 40 times a game. I know he's freaking terrible. He's so goofy. He's like an older version of Nick Foles.
It's happening.
It's 22. It's 2020. That's all this is.
It's like when does?
But if you can get, it's not going to end forever. But Laviska, he's the type of guy he can break some tackles. He has some good hands, and if you can, get him out of the backfield too and get him some touches back there, he might be able to get you a touchdown or get you, some good amount of yards throughout the game.
Okay. Steve has a question. Steve, thank you for checking in. I believe Steve is a friend of Sean's. Higgins,
Mike Williams.
T. Higgins or Mike Williams. I'm assuming he's not asking Rashard Higgins. It's Mike Williams for me until I see what Brandon Allen does with that Bengals team. What do you guys think? Porkman, you said Mike Williams. Jorge, Maddie, what do you guys think?
I think Mike Williams also. I think the wide receiver for the Bengals is going to be Tyler Boyd. If anybody, that short to intermediate passing game in the slot, I think favors him than dropping back, setting time, doing the timing routes with T. Higgins. Mike Williams.
Okay, Maddie. I think you're muted, my man.
Yeah, I was. I like T. Higgins personally.
Okay.
I think that he is quarterback proof, and that he runs a lot of short to intermediate routes well, and he's taking the AJ Green role from AJ Green in that offense. So he's going to be. I think he'll still be productive enough with the targets he gets from Brandon Allen. As long as Brandon Allen can put them in a catchable radius, it's going to be T. Higgins' ball because of how tall he is.
Brandon Allen did start, I don't remember if it was 1 or 2 games last year for the Broncos, and a lot of people were worried about Cortland Sutton. He was fine. So, if T. Higgins is an elite wide receiver like we expect him to be, much like Cortland Sutton is, maybe we're going to be okay. So, I'm thinking Mike Williams just because he already has that rapport with blanking here. Herbert, thank you. But at the end of the day, the answer could be both of these guys are startable. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, there are some leagues I'm in where I'm so bad, I'm just leaving T. Higgins in there anyway. So, what are you going to do? Also, my most popular record this year seems 4-7 for whatever reason. So, I can't explain it, but I'll take those 4 wins. Who are we back to now? Are we back to Pork or are we back to me?
I think it's back to you.
Okay, great. So I'm sitting
back to you. I just did Laviska.
Oh, thank you, Porkman. I'm sitting Denver running backs versus the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are only allowing 74.3 rush yards per game. So, yeah, Drew Lock has also been widely inconsistent, so I'm not expecting much in the passing game for the running backs at all. If you have to start these guys, I'm not doing it with any confidence. And Steve is saying, thank you, gentlemen. Love the show. Hey, the love is right back at you. Thanks for watching. Appreciate that. So we'll swing it back around again, see what else we can come up with here. Porkman, back to you if you got anybody else for us. I'll tell you what, let's just kind of do like a rapid fire. Just whatever else you
Rapid
got.
fire.
Yeah, just whatever else you got. Let us have it.
I guess Mike Davis again. I guess you have to start it with no CMC. He's going to
Unless
get the
you're Manny.
touches. He's a PPR guy. Unless you're Manny, like to drop him.
I'm gonna point that out every time I can, but I'm
Every
sorry.
week. Yeah, you have to start. They Teddy likes throwing to running backs there, so Mike Davis has to be started until CMC gets back. He looks ugly, but he gets the job done.
Points are points. Don't watch it, but just look at the score at the end.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else?
Jakeem Grant.
Okay.
I'm going to say a name. Jakeem Grant got I think he got 6 targets, 5 targets, and 5 targets in his last 3 games. He's getting the opportunities. He's going against his old coach, Adam Gase, in this next game. I don't think it matters who the quarterback is. He creates separation, and he's going to get some targets anyways. So if he can convert on those targets, because he only caught 2 of those 6 in his last game, he caught 4 of his 5 in the previous to the last game. He could convert that into fantasy points because he had 14 points in 2 games ago.
Okay. Frank's also kind of piggybacking off your question here. Is it Tua or Fitz this week? Said earlier, Tua's questionable, jammed his thumb. I don't know. I think, Maddie, I'd probably feel better with Grant if Fitz was in there a little bit. But like you said, he is getting the chance. So I think he's going to be fine either way. I like that call.
Yeah.
You got anybody else you want to throw out there for us?
Damian Harris is playing the Arizona Cardinals at home. The Arizona Cardinals don't really travel well, and their defense is doing extremely well. As soon as Isaiah Simmons was released, unleashed upon the NFL, it took him about like 3 to 4 games to learn his position. But, I think Damian Harris is going to be the game plan for the New England Patriots. So you're going to see quite a bit of Damian Harris run up the middle about 20 times. I don't think Sony Michel is going to impact his production.
I'm just about to ask you if you were worried about Sony.
Read your mind.
I'm not.
Brainwaves, man. I kind of feel like Sony's toast, man.
Yeah, he's burnt toast, man. He's a crumb bum.
Hate to say it because his rookie year he was so good.
He was really good.
What are you going to do? You have anyone else for us, or I don't want to put you on the spot, but all right.
I'm going to pass it over to Jorge.
All right. Jorge, whatever else you got, just let us have it.
Sure, I'm going to go IDP route, and I'm going to kind of cater to my host right now, and I'm going to go with a couple of linebackers for the Philadelphia Eagles. Alex Singleton, over the past 3 games played, has had a great solo tackle to assisted tackle ratio, which is great because solo tackles count for more points than assisted tackles. He's got in the past 3 games 2 tackles for loss, a sack, a forced fumble recovery. He's been playing lights out. If Chris Carson for some reason does not come back,
hold on, stop, pause. Don't watch it. Porkman is not funny. Lights out for fantasy is different than lights out for real NFL. I just want to jump in there. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jorge. Porkman's laughing at me.
So I think if Chris Carson does not return for the Seattle Seahawks on Monday, I think you could see a lot of these running backs doing a lot of more outside runs just because of their less physical stature. Now, if Chris Carson does show up, I see TJ Edwards in the middle having a much more productive solo tackle day just because he'll be facing Chris Carson kind of head on for the most of the game, and that's kind of what middle linebackers do, tackle running backs running up the middle.
Yeah. No, I do like that. I like TJ Edwards. The defense did look better once he came back. I think the one game would he have like 15, 13 tackles, something like that. So,
let me pull that up really quickly. He had
It was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, he had actually had in week 10 16 tackles, and then he had 12 tackles last week.
Oh,
that's crazy.
he's good.
Thank you, Jorge. You are amazing, like always. The only guy I have left is Jamison Crowder versus Miami. Weeks 1 and 4 when he last played with Sam Darnold. 23 targets, 14 receptions, 219 yards, and 1 touchdown. It's pretty damn good. And he did good with Joe Flacco as well. But Sam Darnold seems to love this guy. And, Miami versus the Jets. It's going to be a real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
That's all I had for starts and sits. I do have a question, though, for you guys. Just something I'm curious about. And this is going to sound really crazy. Is Alvin Kamara sittable for a better option while Taysom Hill is the starting quarterback? Because we know his bread and butter is as a receiving back. His first career game ever without a reception was last week while Taysom Hill was the starting quarterback. Do you think, are we worried, or are they going to game plan him in?
Let me ask you a question to answer your question. Can you look at me in the eye and really sit Alvin? Say you're going to sit Alvin Kamara at this point in the season.
Exactly.
I can. But we're also talking about sitting Zeke. I mean,
well, the Zeke thing. I mean, look,
Start your
offensive lines falling apart. He doesn't have Dak anymore. I mean, there's a lot of like outside surrounding issues with Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys, but Kamara, I mean, I think even without getting the volume he's used to getting, he still got you 10.5 PPR points last week. So it's not like he wasn't relevant. Will you get RB1 value out of him? That's a different question.
Probably not. Yeah,
probably
we
not.
won't know.
It was just something that I was thinking about. I'm not saying drop him. We wouldn't want to do anything crazy like that. But it was just kind of a thought of mine. I don't know if there's a better option, but I don't know what would be.
No, you can't. I mean, I think this is Taysom's first week, so you can't really just base it off of his first week. I think they just, did was comfortable for him. He just targeted his best receiver. Michael Thomas had a great game, and he ran. So I think he'll be able to see the field a little bit more. He had a whole game to see what to work with. Get a look at some tape. Kamara might have been open on some of them routes where he had incompletion. So he was like, "Oh, if nothing's open up in the field, Kamara is always open. Just let him. That's always a safety valve."
Okay, all right. And Maddie did say before, always start your studs. That is true. I always do. Yeah, always.
Unless they're injured.
Well,
like Travis Fulgham this week.
Are you trusting Travis Fulgham this week? I mean, he's the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I have to in some leagues. Yeah, he's put out some donuts basically the last 2 weeks, and I think he's got a good enough matchup to play him this week. It's Seattle. The secondary's trash. If anything, I think Travis Fulgham over the middle is going to be pretty open because Jamal Adams cannot cover, so it's pretty fun. So I like I do like Travis Fulgham this week. I do like Carson Wentz as well for fantasy purposes. Maybe not NFL game purposes, but for fantasy purposes.
We like him for NFL game purposes. We would just love if they did some good play calling. So let me ask you this: I have my Yahoo league here. Is one of the only leagues I have Travis Fulgham in. Would you obviously you're not going to play him over DeAndre Hopkins?
No.
Without a doubt. No. Would you play him over Tyler Boyd?
Yes.
Jorge would. Maddie, would you?
I would play Fulgham over Boyd, yes.
I think I would play Fulgham as well.
Okay, and here's another option too. Seeing as he's been pretty good lately, and with John Brown is out this week, would you play him over Cole Beasley?
I love me some Cole Beasley.
He's been
PPR. It's Cole Beasley.
Okay, yeah, agreed with Maddie.
Okay, so you know what? I mean, I'm at the point right now where let me look at the league. I'm currently in 5th in this league. I was in 2nd for a little bit, but got hit with the injury bug and the Ezekiel Elliott bug. So, I mean, if I want to make a move, now's the time, right? I got to swing.
Yeah.
So I think I'm still in the playoffs, regardless of if I lose this week or not. Yeah, because that guy can't catch me. And the guy that's 1-10 is definitely not going to catch me too. Okay, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna take Tyler Boyd out, or I also have. So my starting lineup is right now. This is great. We get to do something like this in the show. My starting lineup is Russell Wilson, DeAndre Hopkins, their thing. Right now, this is current. Tyler Boyd, Cole Beasley, J.D. McKissick already played. Ezekiel Elliott already played. Jonnu Smith is my starting tight end, and my two flexes currently are Brian Hill and Giovanni Bernard. So on my bench, DJ Chark out, Travis Fulgham, Joe Mixon IR, Jerick McKinnon, Fournette, Michael Gallup already played, Hayden Hurst, and Keelan Cole.
I would take out Giovanni Bernard because I'm not really sure if he's going to be playing or not.
Okay.
And I would probably put Fulgham there in the flex.
He had a full practice today, but I'm with you with switching him for Fulgham, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'd play matchups here.
All right. So we're going to do that. And then are we leaving Boyd and Beasley in? There's no one else we would like. Do we want to put in Keelan Cole over Boyd or Beasley?
Or Mike Glennon at quarterback? Not really.
Yeah, I would.
Mike Glennon or Brandon Allen. It's either or. They're both doo-doo. So,
but I think I like Brandon Allen a little bit better.
Well, I guess the question is, which quarterback do you feel more comfortable? Do you feel comfortable with Glennon throwing the ball deep, or do you feel comfortable with Brandon Allen doing the short to intermediate?
Throwing the short.
Yeah,
it'll be Boyd.
Right.
For me.
We'll leave Tyler Boyd in there. Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you guys know how it works out. So if I lose, it's not my fault. This is fantastic.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just kidding. Obviously, sometimes you can't control, what's going on in your fantasy leagues, no matter how well you draft. But, one thing that you can control, it is Black Friday, so go online and do some shopping. If you're looking for the ultimate stocking stuffer for the holiday season, look no further because our sponsors, Manscaped, have the tools to make you win this year's stocking stuffer or white elephant competition. I have no clue what that is. This is the first time I'm reading this read-through, so just bear with me, everybody. Manscaped is the only brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene products. And great news, they just released their products across Europe, Canada, and Australia. The world just got to be a more beautiful place. Hey, just so you know, men, this isn't just for you ladies. You could use this too, because it says here in red that it's not just for men. A few of their products that are prime and stocking stuffers this season are the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant. The name speaks for itself. Porkman loves it. Crop Reviver Ball Toner, a spray-on toner that will give your balls a little slice of heaven with their aloe vera and hazel extract. If you look at Jorge's face right now, he's actually online ordering it as we speak.
Right now.
Cleanser body wash, a full body wash that you can also use on your hair. Porkman does it too. The Crop Mop Ball Wipes. You never know when an opportunity strikes, so you should always be prepared. The Foot Duster Foot Deodorant for when you're carrying around cases of water is designed to keep the stankiest feet smelling fresh. Cheers 2.0 is a luxury 4-piece nail kit. What are you doing down there? And the Weed Whacker Nose Hair Trimmer, which provides proprietary skin safe technology to get rid of those nasty nose hair. And hey, listen, seriously, I want to talk to you for a second about the Lawnmower 3.0. Fantastic piece of engineering, and it's got like a 1 million RPM motor or something like that. They put it in helicopters and stuff like that. So hey, head on over to manscaped.com, use the promo code PORK20 at the bottom of your screen, 20% off and free shipping. Again, manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping. Your jewels and the Dynasty Rewind will thank you. So before we head on out, now that is over, Pork.
That bronzer sounds pretty tempting, though. I'm not going to lie.
Well, if you buy it, Sean will come over and apply it for you.
That's very thoughtful. Thank you.
He has to do it. So
we don't have to rub it together.
We tell him
bronze
before we get out.
I think we should all give a dynasty trade we're thankful for that we did this season.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to need a second to think about one.
I'll give you one.
You want to start it off? Okay,
I'll start it off. I overpaid for Antonio Gibson at the start of the season. I gave for Antonio Gibson a 2021 first and a 2021 second, and I'm thankful for that trade nowadays.
I don't know if that's an overpay now, though.
Exactly. So I'm thankful for it now.
Yeah, I'm saying like now if you made that trade right now, you'd probably be stealing him.
Mhm.
Jorge, I
He
know
looks
you're
good.
newer to Dynasty. Do you have any?
I don't have the only trade I made this season, which is a redraft trade. I traded a couple weeks ago Michael Thomas for Nick Chubb, so I feel pretty good about that trade.
Okay, I like that. Pork, I don't know if you're ready, but I just unloaded David
I'm ready.
Montgomery for a second and third round pick because I feel like the Bears are going to be shopping for a running back sooner rather than later, and on a team that's not contending, I'll take the picks.
All right.
Because David Montgomery's not going to do anything for me now or later. Pork?
Yeah, I have one. I have one league I was rebuilding, so I sold Dalvin Cook and got Daryl Henderson because I was like, I'll just get a running back, but then I started winning again, so
Oh,
I
that's
traded
probably,
Kenyon Drake for Dalvin Cook back on the same team. So hopefully that can win me a championship in that league this year. So I'm very grateful for Mr. Cook.
Yeah. Maddie, I love that suggestion there. That was awesome, man. Kudos to you. So
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
yeah, same to you, man. He brings the fire not just for graphics, but on the pod as well. So Sean wants to know, you think Rager gets his breakout? Yeah, sure. When they call 9,000 passing plays and don't have Carson Wentz roll out of the pocket behind a band-aided offensive line, he's going to just do fucking great. Porkman, do you have a greasy take? Your previous week was PJ Walker will be a quarterback one that week against the Bengals. He finished his quarterback 22 on the week, which is a low-end quarterback too. But I'm sure
because he had two really bad interceptions. Like it was just like I don't know who the hell he's throwing the ball to. I guess it was just a bad connection. Because he didn't look bad, in my opinion. No, quarterback 22 don't sound good, but just watching the game, he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Greasy take of the week. It's very bad. Samaje Perine, running back, Cincinnati Bengals. Hopefully he gives us 50 yards and a touchdown. He hasn't been playing that well as it is, but he might get some volume there. So yeah, it's greasy. Samaje Perine. Was that LaMichael's cousin, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, I think he is.
The lesser of the P-Runs.
Former Washington football team running back Samaje Perine.
I remember that. So Samaje Perine, 50 yards and a touch.
Yes.
Yeah,
so much grease.
Or a tutter, as they call it on the True North Fantasy Football podcast.
Yeah.
So that's that. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out. So we'll lead us out, and we'll start with Maddie. We could find you where on Twitter?
At Maddie Big Chest and at Dynasty Warzone as well. That's the handle I stream from.
Okay, perfect. And like I said, again, if you need any awesome logos, graphics, anything, you can do. He does a lot of stuff. Just hit him up. He'll tell you what he can and can't do. I'm not going to speak for him. But the turnaround time is fantastic. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. Everything is clean, professional. It's exactly what you want. Jorge, thank you again for joining us. And we can find you where you're doing like a million things at once.
So you can find me at Jorge B. Edwards on Twitter. I also handle the Fantasy and Frames Twitter handle. So head over there and subscribe, get some great information. The Fourth and Frames podcast, you can find us on all the major platforms. And then my co-hosts also at Fantasy and Frames, Nate Markham and David Ibrahim, we have a podcast called the Fantasy Playbook Podcast. So check that out. Like, subscribe. You can find us on Twitter there as well.
All right, perfect. Jorge, thank you again. And the Greasy Anniversary Boy, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me at FF Porkman 24/7. DMs are always open, as I always say.
That's right. And Porkman does not sleep. So he's more than happy to DM you back at any point in time. You don't sleep, do you?
I don't.
Yeah, not much.
No. But too much. I got it on Facebook and Instagram already.
So if you are so inclined, you can find me on Twitter at DMBauer85. I would much prefer you follow the show at Dynasty Rewind. Again, please subscribe, rate, and review. Hit me up, buy a t-shirt, buy stickers, something. Tell us how great we are. But until next week, everybody, actually until Tuesday, everybody, be kind, please wine. Thank you for watching. Thank you for downloading. We'll see you next time, everybody.